Ratata! So my most popular video that I ever made was on the Platinum headsets, and that was prior to them actually coming out. I was more or less describing what to expect from the headsets and why I was excited for them. So many months later, after purchasing them, I decided to make a review because I had a lot of people from that video hit me up like, "Hey, did you ever get them? What do you think of it?" So this is that review. Let's start off the review by saying they're hideous. They look terrible. Just that's not appealing to anyone. Just look at them. They're terrible. But the design is pretty good. It's got the metal band above the top, so you're not going to break them like you do with your golds. You know, the golds were terrible when they broke on both seams. These seem to hold up extremely well. It's got an elastic little piece that fits over your head. And at first, this right here will irritate the shit out of some people's head. Like on the top, it can be very annoying, but you'll get used to it relatively quickly. I had to guess probably a few hours in, you'll be used to it. The cushions, I have a lot of people ask me about how they are as far as, you know, hot ear, getting hot ear, hot head. I didn't have that issue. Where my issue was, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but the depth of the actual cups themselves, depending on how your ear was designed from the factory, you may or may not have an issue, or maybe I just have a flawed headset. I don't know. But with my ear, the cartilage sticks out. I don't know if you can see that. It sticks out kind of far, right, past the flimsy part. And so this hard part right here rests up against the speaker, and you can feel the mesh. It's really hard in front of the speaker itself, which is a 50 millimeter speaker, by the way. And it doesn't take long at all before your ear is hurting so bad. Like you get all red right here, and it's incredibly painful, and it actually lasts for quite a while. You can play with the way you set them on your head because you can see that they have a slant. They have a slant on the inside where it's supposed to accommodate for people's weird ears, but I can't seem to find the right fit. I don't know. It feels terrible. With that said, the agonizing pain I experienced in the beginning, and I still do if I wear it for long periods of time. I mean, I've gotten somewhat used to it. I might even get cauliflower ear after a little bit, which is kind of cool. Could be intimidating. But with all that said, the quality of this headset in comparison to the golds. Now, understand that I've never owned a headset outside of the PlayStation Golds and these, so I can only compare the two. And the Golds, when I first got them, I was highly impressed. But I was coming from a place where, you know, I'm a fan of real surround sound. So I run a 7.1 in the living room, and that picture's off. It's catty cornered. That's bothering me. So anyway, sorry. And so going to the headset, I was a bit reluctant to say the least. But once I got in there and got the headset on for playing at night and that sort of things, I fell in love with headsets to a certain degree. I still wish that you could have a separate output, if you will, from the PS4 to allow you to run a headset for all the audio except for bass. I wish you could run a separate subwoofer so you could feel it in your chest, but that's just me. With that said, the headsets, I started to love them. And then what was so attracting to me about this particular headset is the fact that you can rock 3D audio. The virtual 7.1 surround sound on this headset is night and day better than the Golds. It's very, very, very good. Very, very good quality, very good separation of sound, like treble to mid to bass. It's fantastic. But with 3D audio, that was the most appealing thing to me. And once I got my hands on it and started playing with it myself, I was a little taken back at first. I didn't quite like it because it seemed so subtle in comparison to virtual surround sound. But once I figured out what the issue was, and this will lead into another part that I want to talk about. When it comes to 3D audio and the games that I played it on, like Uncharted 4, Horizon Zero Dawn, those are third-person perspective. And the 3D audio is based on where the character is, right, on the screen. And that's it throws you off a little bit because it's based on how she would hear or how he would hear, she being Aloy or he being Nathan Drake. And so when the audio is based around them, and the thing that's kind of takes you, at least for me anyway, what kind of sets me back with that is the camera's position is further back. And so you want to feel like the audio is based on where the camera's positioned. And that's not how they designed the audio. And once you figure that out, you start to understand how it's working. It's fantastic. And if you don't understand what 3D audio really does for you, or how it helps you get more immersed into the world, see my other video, the Platinum headset, what to look for with the Platinum headset. That video goes into it in depth and explains what to expect with 3D audio. And the other reason why I wanted it was for PlayStation VR. However, I could pull out the VR and show you, but VR already kind of makes you have a hot head already. Even if this headset would fit over the VR, you're gonna have massive hot head. There ain't no way I'm trying to rock this with a headset. And let's see, I've actually never even tried. Let's just do it real quick live. Hold on a second. Oh, okay. I guess it does fit. You know what? It does work, and I guess that's why it's so goofy looking, because it gives you the clearance to get over the headset. So I guess this would work. The problem is you're gonna sweat your ass off. You're gonna be so damn hot using this with VR on. I can't imagine what I look like. I probably look like a damn robot. I don't think I'll do this. Maybe I will. I'll try it out. But I just feel like it needs to be 48 degrees in the house in order to do this, because otherwise you're gonna be sweating your ass off. I wonder if I should do the rest review with the VR on. It's kind of weird. So I want to keep going into it a little bit more. When it comes to 3D audio, I mentioned the two games, and that's another issue. Is Sony does not do a very good job of supporting their peripherals a lot of the times. Thankfully, they're killing it with VR. I mean, hell, we're gonna have 280 games by the end of the year. But when it comes to the 3D audio on your traditional games that are on screen, not in VR, they only have a select few. It's like The Last Guardian, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Uncharted 4 are the only games that support 3D audio from a first-party standpoint, and there's really no point in even mentioning third-party. That's a huge issue, because the main reason why I got these was for 3D audio, and they're not supporting it as of right now, and that's a huge negative to me. And we're going to dive into the experience I've had with those games, in particular with the 3D audio in itself. But first, I got to go see what's going on because my kids are screaming in the background. I'll be right back. So let's dive into when I really fell in love with 3D audio for your traditional style games. I mean, obviously in VR, it's a must-have. You can't even play VR without 3D audio. It'd be ludicrous. But when it comes to traditional games like Uncharted 4, for instance, in particular the multiplayer, I fell in love with it once. Normally when I play Uncharted online, I'm either in a private match playing against a bunch of folks in there, because if you play just a public lobby, I wreck everybody. Y'all already all know that, because that's what I do. I wreck people. But when I got out of the private matches, I went back into the public lobby, and I wasn't in a party chat of any sort. I turned down the chat feature, turned up the game volume, and I just started playing. And I was, before you knew it, I was in the zone, because when you could tell with pinpoint accuracy where somebody would be on the map. I don't just mean from behind. Like with virtual surround sound, you have an idea of where they are from left to right, center, in front of you, and behind you. With 3D audio, it's the same, but in a 360 degrees. So it's a spatial surround sound, meaning if there's somebody coming up behind me and they pull up, they start shooting, and they're right there at the coffee table, I know that when I turn around, they're not going to be off in the distance by the wall. They're going to be at that coffee table. So that, and especially coming from a guy that used the scope, the sniper, the master of the sniper, just so you know, I can pull my shot, pop, pull my scope up, and I already know where you are. Or if you're up on a balcony, right, you fire off, pow, I can turn and know exactly where you are every single time. And whenever you're in tune with the matches and you have that level of detail when it comes to sound, you are just on point. And I shit you not, for hours, I was consistently hitting 40 plus on kills with less than 5 downs. And I have the screenshots to prove it. I mean, this was going on for hours straight. I was just unstoppable. And that's what, and I can't, not all of that is because of the headset, right? You're not going to be a better gamer necessarily because of the headset, but it does enhance the skills you already have. So in that regard, it's amazing. On the single player side, like with Horizon Zero Dawn, for example, the machines, you can, I don't know if a lot of people are aware of this, but the machines are based on layers. So they have an outer shell, they have an inner shell, and even goes further than that into their core. And so when you're attacking them with the bow and the different weapons, you have to get into the layers to kill it or take it down. And what's crazy with that game, especially with the 3D audio, is it's almost as if you can hear the layers, because there's so many intricate sounds that are taking place, especially when there's chaos and there's all these different machines. You can you hear the different layers of, like, you have the watcher, that guy, he's over here, and there's another one over here, so and you're running around, you're rolling, you're dodging, there's fire coming over, and you're like, okay, without even seeing, I know that there's two watchers here and here. I know that the Thunderjaw is behind me, he's blowing fire at me, and then, here comes something else coming up front, like an alligator. Like, you just know all that, and you're in tune with it. And so what that does is it helps you get really focused in the game, and you lose track, or you lose train of thought of the real surrounding world. Which, I mean, if there's an intruder, that's not a good thing. But hopefully that's not happening, or you're getting swatted, right? But aside from that, you are literally transported into that world. And for me, that outweighs all the negatives I already mentioned to you. Assuming Sony keeps providing the 3D audio as an option for their first-party studios. And one thing that I really hope is that they allow third party to utilize Dolby Atmos, which is another form of 3D audio, like on Battlefield 1, for instance, or Battlefront 2. Those use Dolby Atmos, but we as PlayStation owners with the 3D headset cannot utilize the Atmos because Sony made it proprietary with theirs, and I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. They need to allow Atmos to work on this, because that's all that is a software flip of the switch. It's silly that that's not available to us. Hopefully I addressed everything. The mic. So you have one mic that picks up your voice, and you have another mic that hears everything around you, your surroundings, and it tries to cut it out. I did this review with this headset on. I get a lot of echo in this room, so as I'm playing these back and listening to them, the sound of my voice is not very good. So take that for what it is. Maybe you can tell a difference. I can't say it's great or not, because I can't hear myself talking to other people, but I haven't had any complaints. I did adjust the mic gain a couple times throughout this. I might still have it set a little too high. That's why it's kind of sounding like it's crackly at the end of certain notes or tones of my voice. Anyway, let me know if this was in depth enough, and if you have any further questions, I will answer them in the comments. And if it turns out that there's a lot that I missed out, or went over, I will re-upload another video addressing those issues if there's quite a bit of them. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Out. Skibbity bop, shoot up, hi ho, la la la, ratata. Let us radio check 1, 2, 3, 7, 10, 12.